Hi guys, it's Frankie from Frankie Tech. Good to see you guys again, and I'm here to share my 1-week review and FAQ on the POCO X3 NFC. Now, I've had this phone since last Friday, and I gotta tell you guys, it's been one of the most incredible phones for the price that I've used this year. And despite not having certain features like an AMOLED display and perhaps a build quality that could be a bit better for the €200 or even the €229 introductory price, you are getting an amazing deal with this phone. And so like I do with all my 1-week reviews, just want to share a quick overview of what my experience has been, and then we're going to go into the FAQ, your most frequently asked questions answered here on Frankie Tech. Is this POCO X3 everything it's cracked up to be after a week of use? Let's have a look. So 1 week in, guys, from design to the display, the Snapdragon 732 processor, terrific dual speakers, and a camera that won my camera comparison yesterday. This phone is really punching above its weight at every point. And despite not having an AMOLED display, it's solid, performance is solid, the speakers are a great experience, and let's not forget the battery life, which is just stunning. This phone is lasting me easily 2 days of use, no problems. And overall, 1 week in, guys, I have no complaints about this POCO X3 NFC, and its global availability means you'll be able to pick this phone up in many different countries, and you may have picked it up already. It's a terrific device for the price. And now let's go to the first question that I want to address. Frankie, is this really an aluminum alloy like POCO is saying? Because it really does feel like plastic. And now guys, I'm on the record as saying that any phones that don't have any antenna bands like this one and that are not cool to the touch would be phones with a plastic edge and frame. Now this POCO does not have any of those signs, and yet from the information I was provided directly from POCO, this is an aluminum alloy. Now what that means exactly, I'm not too sure, and it does display some of the properties in terms of hardness of aluminum. Yet at the same time, it doesn't have the same feel as something that you would get from, let's say, a K30 Ultra, which is using actual aluminum, cold to the touch, and you can tell because of the antenna bands here that it is aluminum. Now, is this a deal breaker in terms of design? I don't think it is, and once you put a case on your phone, you'll probably forget about it anyway. But despite this being an aluminum alloy, it still gives me the feeling that it's made of plastic. But I will take POCO's word for it. Just know, though, that it won't have that same cool to the touch feel as you would get on something like the K30 Ultra or the POCO F2 Pro. And now to the next question. Frankie Tech, I've seen some reviewers complaining about ghosting on this phone on the display. Is it a deal breaker? And now guys, as I mentioned in my main review, as you see from the front, you can barely tell any ghosting on this punch hole. And that's if you hold the phone here directly in front of you. Now, if you go looking for ghosting on an LCD display, you will eventually find it. And you can see there, and there's a little bit of what I would not call ghosting, but perhaps dimming that happens on LCD displays around the edges. Probably most noticeable here at the bottom, where you see a slight dimming here on the bottom edge. And guys, I promise you, if you go looking for this on any of Xiaomi's LCD displays, you will find it. Now, when you look at it straight ahead like this, though, it's not really a deal breaker. But for all you guys who maybe nitpick your displays in this way, you may want to consider an AMOLED display phone, which doesn't display these types of properties that LCD displays do. And the next question I want to address, Frankie Tech, does the POCO X3 have a notification LED? And so I do have a charger right here, and let's plug it in, and I'll show you exactly where the notification is on this phone. And you can see right here at the top, it is a single notification LED, and it is only white. It is not multicolored, but it's basically found here in the speaker grill. And this will basically blink for incoming messages, emails, or when you're charging like this, it will stay on. I honestly wouldn't mind if the POCO X3 included this feature or not, but for you guys who were asking, yes, it does have a notification LED. And now the big question I've gotten recently regarding a video of a fellow YouTuber, and one thing that reviewer complained about was the ads that were visible on this POCO X3. And the question related to that, Frankie Tech, are the ads a deal breaker on this phone? Now there's 2 points of thought on this. Personally, I don't really experience them very often because I don't use a lot of the system apps. Now yes, MIUI 12 does use ads occasionally, and it will be found, let's say, when you're installing an application like I'm doing right now. And while sometimes it will show ads while installing an application, other times it won't, as you see right here. Now let's say you're going to a pre-installed app like Themes, for example. There you go. There's an ad that Xiaomi is using. It's in those areas where the ads can become a bit annoying. Now in this ad services section, you can turn off personalized ads and recommendations. But one thing I want to be clear about, you still will see the same quantity of ads, but they won't be based on your behavior data or your personal information. Now, just like Amazon and even Samsung recently, ads are becoming more prevalent in the software skins, and MIUI has been doing this for a long time. But what I guess the point is that this is not a new issue. And while it may be a concern for some people, I honestly don't use system applications enough to really see this that often. But it's definitely not a new issue, and it's definitely not something just related to this POCO X3 NFC. So I wouldn't just single out this release for that issue. And now let's get into the more speculative questions, which are the fun ones. Frankie Tech, should I buy this POCO X3 NFC or should I wait for the rumored Redmi Note 10? Now for a while I might have said yes, wait for a Redmi Note 10 because I did believe for a while that it would be the first Redmi Note series release with an AMOLED display. But recent rumors suggest that this Redmi Note 10 may actually be a rebranded POCO X3 NFC for China release only. And this would be a crazy turn of events because the Redmi Note series has a global footprint. And if the Note series in China is released as this POCO X3 NFC, then it's going to be the same 120Hz LCD display as this phone. Now, this may sound terrible, but I think there might be actual promise in this rumor because it could mean that we will see a completely different phone for global release as the Redmi Note 10 and Note 10 Pro. And the leaks we saw of a phone with a side-mounted fingerprint scanner could be just that, the China version of the Redmi Note 10. Time will tell if that will be the case, but guys, I'm still holding out hope that we will see an AMOLED display on a Redmi Note series phone. But that being said, guys, I don't predict we're going to be seeing a Redmi Note 10 series global phone very soon. And seeing how much availability this POCO X3 is getting globally, I don't think Redmi is in any rush to release a global Redmi Note 10 until maybe even 2021. So for all you guys considering between the POCO X3 NFC and this rumored Redmi Note 10, I would just say go for the POCO X3 NFC. It's going to have a lot or very similar features to that Redmi Note 10. And if it is a China-only release, then you definitely want to pick up this phone instead. And the last question I want to address, which is actually a preview for my upcoming video, Frankie Tech, now we've seen this POCO X3 NFC win this camera comparison. But how does it compare to what many consider the best point-and-shoot camera in Android? And that is none other than the Pixel 4a. Well guys, I have some good news. I've actually been out taking photos with this Pixel 4a and the POCO X3 NFC. I think hardware-wise, most of you guys are going to be on the side of this phone. But cameras is the one big area where I think this Pixel 4a needs to be considered. And so stay tuned for that full camera comparison. It's going to be fun pitting POCO's latest $200 champ versus the Pixel 4a at $350 and see which phone comes out on top. So that's it guys for my quick FAQs, and like I said, 1 week in, I'm loving this phone, and do let me know if you've already picked up this phone, what your thoughts are as well. Easily one of the best deals in smartphones this year, and it is in the running for my best budget phone of 2020. But hit me up in the comments. What are your thoughts on this POCO X3 NFC now that the release hype has kind of died down? And do you have any other questions about this phone? Hit me up in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. And that's it for this video. If you liked it, give me that thumbs up. And if you love the content of Frankie Tech, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon for future updates. Stay tuned, guys. Some more interesting devices coming to the channel very soon. It's going to be a fun upcoming week. So that's it. And this is where I leave you by saying, this is Frankie Tech signing off. Have a good one.